Wow. Just wow. If you are a hockey fan, you should be friggin' praying to the hockey gods right now that you are seeing one of the best Stanley Cup finals of all time happen in front of your eyes. Welcome back to another video here on Justin Sports. I'm your host, as usual, Justin Arnberg. And if you like the content that you see, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment because listen, it's the only way the channel's going to grow, to be completely honest with you. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, TikTok, or X, be sure to do so because if you like the content that you see here, I guarantee you're going to love the content that you see over there. It's just a matter of time before you find it. But let's talk about the first two games of the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet for you guys. Listen, I'm just going to talk about this as a hockey fan, not a journalist, and say I think these two games have been, for the start of the Stanley Cup Final, the best two games I've seen for the start of the Stanley Cup Final. Yes, I was only born in 2001, so technically you can't I can't say I watch any of the other ones live. But from what I've watched live in my life, this has to be the best start to a Stanley Cup Final that I've ever seen. You knew that Edmonton wasn't going to go down 3-0 like last year in the final. And honestly, after two games, a split is where it should be. It honestly could be 2-0 Florida. It honestly could be 2-0 Edmonton. But a split is where it should be. And I'm so happy that it is because it means that we're going to have more hockey. And this series has 7 written all over it. Through the first two games, these two teams, maybe a little hair separates them. And that would be the Florida Panthers are better in the second period compared to the Edmonton Oilers, where they seem to have like a 10-minute gap where they just they don't fall apart, but they just take their foot off the gas a little bit, and Florida just pounces on them, and they take advantage of that in both games, game 1 and game 2. And we saw it. And you know what? It's credit to the Florida Panthers for taking taking the gas and just flooring it to the ground when they notice that Edmonton's on the ropes for 10 minutes in the second period. But credit to the Edmonton Oilers because they find a way to battle back, and they're one of the best third period teams. Listen, game 1 was incredible. I didn't even think I was going to have to make this video, to be completely honest. But game 1 was just so incredible, and game 2 was so incredible that I just had to do this. Leon Draisaitl scores the game opener and the game finisher in game 1. And then in game 2, after I got to mention the comeback, the comeback in game 1, that could have been over for the Edmonton Oilers very easily, but they hung around, they started getting momentum, and they simply dominated the third period and overtime in that game versus the Florida Panthers. And then last night, Brad Marchand, just Brad Marchand. That's a big game player stepping up in a big moment, and he delivers. That's what you want from big game players or big name players, that you want them to show up in these moments. And Brad Marchand, say what you want about him, but he is one of the best players of all time. He simply is. It's not just the points that he puts up, because that alone is probably going to get him into the Hall of Fame, but it's the game within the game. It's the game within the game that he is so good at. I don't think I've seen anyone better than him. Maybe Matthew Chuck, but they're on the same team now, so that just makes it unfair. I'm so amazed what Brad Marchand's able to do at this age, and he looks like he's just having fun. And talk about just having fun, Corey Perry, no one's gonna talk about this because it's Brad Marchand's overtime winner heroics, but Corey Perry scores the game-tying goal with 17 seconds left, and you know what? Brad Marchand and Corey Perry now lead the all-time active players in terms of Stanley Cup Final goals with 10 and 9, both scoring in last night's game. Corey Perry also became the 5th player ever 40 or older to score in a Stanley Cup Final. The both of them are just having so much fun. They're, like Brad Marchand said last night, they're just old kids playing the game that they love, and they know that the time is soon running down on them and running out to play their game that they love. So they're going to take full advantage of every single moment. And we got to talk about one more thing before I wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Just talking about game game 1 and 2. As you can tell, I'm just amazed by the hockey that we've witnessed. Like, well, actually, we got to talk about a couple things because Connor McDavid, that assist against Alexander Barkov, the Selke winner of the of this year, it he put him in a blender simply to put that, and then Aaron Ekblad as well. I'm pretty sure was the other one that he walked in that situation. Connor McDavid, a man in on mission. I had to pull this up. 5 points in 2 games. Leon Draisaitl has 3 goals in 2 games. Evan Bouchard has 4 points as well. And the unsung hero of this series so far, who's played exceptionally well, is Nate Schmidt. Nate Schmidt has played exceptionally well. Talk about a good value. Off-season signing last year, $800,000 AAV for 1 year. Come on. Talk about value. That's value. Paul Maurice gets the best out of Nate Schmidt. We saw it in Winnipeg. We're seeing it again here. It's just, I don't know what it is, but it's incredible to watch him flourish on the biggest stage. But we have one more thing to talk about. We have to mention before we just go into game 3. Sam Bennett. Okay, let's talk about Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett is the definition of the line. He simply is. He does not cross the line, except for last night. I think he did. I really do think he did cross the line. And you know what? You can argue that he didn't cross the line or he did. I simply look at that play against. It's different from the game 1 situation. In that one, I did think he was getting pushed into or got tripped up and honestly fell. Obviously, he intentionally hit Stuart Skinner in that case, but that one was more reasonable. That one I didn't think deserved a penalty. Last night's definitely deserved a penalty. Okay, he crossed the line. Sam Bennett crossed the line with Stuart Skinner in game 2. He simply felt a little bit of contact and dove into his leg that was already twisted, and it looked like Stuart Skinner was going to be injured, and that would be the second goalie that Sam Bennett's injured in this playoffs. That's a terrible look. But like he said post-game, he's not going anywhere. He's going to be in front of the net the whole playoff or the whole series, so don't expect that to change. I'm sure we're going to have a conversation about Bennett at some point as well because, yeah, when you toe the line like that, you're bound to get caught eventually, or maybe cross it a little bit eventually. But game 3 goes Monday night in Florida, and I can't wait. We're tied 1-1. How could this, like, other than if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan or a Florida Panthers fan that just wants your team to win, and I totally understand that, and you want them to be up 2-0 right now, how can you be upset with this first 2 games? It has been everything we could have imagined. That just about does it for this video. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your Saturday, and we'll talk to you later.